Fox 5 News Edge at 11 starts now.
Good evening to you. I'm Doug Evans. First on the Sunday News Edge, a plane crash leaves two people seriously injured in Henry County, and one of them is a young girl. Happened around 2:30 this afternoon near Berry Hill Airport in Henry County. Fox 5's Claire Sims is live at Grady Memorial Hospital with our lead story tonight. Claire?
Doug, paramedics transported the little girl involved in that crash to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. They transported the man here to Grady. Now, Henry County Police say both of them suffered serious injuries, but they do not believe they'll be fatal.
It did not get airborne as it passed the building, and it did not get airborne until it got well down the runway here, which I felt was a little peculiar. And once he went into the air, the engine did not sound right to me.
Steve Seal says he stopped by Berry Hill Airport Sunday afternoon to watch planes take off. The pilot of 40 years knew immediately that something was wrong when a Cessna 150 went down the runway at around 2:30 p.m.
It just didn't seem right. There was the plane was late off the ground, and on its climb out, it was not developing enough power to get above those trees.
The small plane crashed in a small private field just yards from the end of the runway. Henry County first responders found the two people on board, a 40-year-old man and an 8-year-old girl, both suffering from serious injuries, and rushed them to local hospitals. Investigators have not identified the pair, but say they are expected to survive.
That's good. My prayers are for them. That's tough. I hope it'll be a situation that they have an opportunity to go fly again.
Investigators with the FAA are now looking into the crash to determine exactly what caused it. We are live at Grady Memorial Hospital. Claire Sims, Fox 5 News.
Thank you, Claire. Members of a Northeast Atlanta church are upset tonight after they say someone fired a bullet into their sanctuary, and they vandalized it as well. The pastor of National Divine Spiritual Church on Jackson Street says there's a bullet hole in a stained glass window. In addition, someone sprayed the word "even" on the side of the building. Members believe all of this happened overnight. They called the church a staple in the community. Members worry that someone could have gotten hurt.
Our neighborhood is beginning to be like the Wild Wild West, so we're sad about it, but the positive outlook is that what can we do that this does not continue to happen?
Atlanta police say officers responded to the incident. We plan to get more information from the department this week. Now to a Fox 5 News alert. Loved ones need your help in finding an 82-year-old missing man in Woodstock. Family members say Kenneth Boland went for his daily walk around his neighborhood Thursday afternoon. He has not been seen since. Boland was last seen wearing blue jeans and a blue and white Columbia jacket. If you have information on his whereabouts, please call police. Happening now, a boil water advisory is in effect for some people living in southwest Atlanta. Crews were out trying to fix a broken water main on Springdale Road today. 780 people are affected, including a nearby nursing home. Officials say people who live on Springdale Road between Cleveland Avenue and Cofield Drive should boil their water as a precaution. The Haralson County Water Authority has issued a water ban to everyone in the county due to dry conditions in that area. That means all city and county car washes are closed until further notice. Water levels in that area are apparently dangerously low. The ban is an effort to make sure that the county has enough water for emergencies. Shoppers were met with crime scene tape following a triple shooting outside a store in DeKalb County. Police say 3 men were injured in a Lowe's parking lot in Lithonia. Fox 5's Marissa Mitchell has the details.
Crime scene tape roped off a large portion of the parking lot at Lowe's in Lithonia. The scene on Farrington Road put shoppers and nearby employees on edge.
I can't believe something like that will happen.
It makes me really think I need to watch my surroundings a little bit more.
DeKalb County police say bullets struck 3 men. They tell Fox 5 an officer noticed a driver speeding out of the store parking lot Sunday. He pulled over the vehicle in this area of Farrington Road, not knowing 2 men were inside with gunshot wounds. Meanwhile, police say a 911 call came in that a 3rd man had been shot in the Lowe's parking lot.
At this point, we don't know who's the suspects. who were victims, but at this point our major concern was to get the individual some help.
As detectives sort out all the details, people who frequent this area know the situation could have been worse.
A bullet could have just came in and probably shot one of my coworkers, you know what I'm saying? Bullet don't have no name on it, so, you know, I just thank God that I wasn't out here when it happened.
We want them to feel safe, whether they're shopping, going to school, or just out walking any day of the week, not just on Sunday. So I could imagine that there will be a very scary scene at that point. But the good thing is that we did at least have some officers that were in the area that were doing the job.
Marissa Mitchell, Fox 5 News.
Turning now to a developing story, Atlanta Public Schools police are looking for whoever shot a teenager. This happened last Friday night in the parking lot at Benjamin E. Mays High School. Police tell us students were returning from a football game at the Georgia Dome. Apparently an SUV pulled into the parking lot and someone started shooting there. A 17-year-old girl was shot in the leg. She was transported to Grady Memorial Hospital. She's in good condition tonight. Also developing tonight, Cobb County Police are investigating a shooting involving at least one of their officers. This happened last night outside a Shell gas station that's on Windy Hill Road. We're told 3 people got into a confrontation with officers. When it was all over, one person was shot.
I saw him put the one guy that got shot in the ambulance. He wasn't moving, but I don't know if he was dead or alive, but I did see him put him in the ambulance.
Yeah, the condition of that man still unknown. Police tell us he was shot in the arm or the leg. Still ahead on the Sunday News Edge, FBI agents say it's an investigation which took them into a hidden culture of both hate and violence. Wait until you hear what these 3 men are accused of doing. Also ahead, early voting starts tomorrow, and that's pushing the presidential candidates to step up their game in certain cities. And here's Adam.
It was a hot one today. Temperatures running up to 81 degrees. That is 9 degrees above our seasonal average. Well, the next couple of days, it gets only warmer. We're going to be talking about a big heat wave here for the next couple coming up in the Fox 5 Storm Team AccuWeather forecast.
Now to a Fox 5 News alert. 3 men are behind bars for plotting a bombing attack on Somali refugees in a Kansas apartment complex. Federal prosecutors arrested and charged the men following an 8-month undercover investigation. And tonight, FBI agents say this investigation took them into a hidden culture of both hate and violence. They say all 3 men were part of the malicious group called the Crusaders. Anti-government, anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant. Authorities say Curtis Allen, Patrick Stein, and Gavin Wright were all arrested after they planned to bomb an apartment complex in Garden City in southwest Kansas. The complex is home to 120 Somali immigrants. One apartment is used as a mosque. According to an investigator, Stein told an undercover FBI agent he wanted to carry out an attack like the Orlando nightclub shooting, and they planned to fill 4 cars with explosives and park a car in the 4 corners of the apartment complex. Authorities say this is a significant, incredible threat that was to take place the day after the election.
It's alleged the defendants conducted surveillance to size up potential targets. They stockpiled firearms, ammunition, and explosive components. They even prepared a manifesto describing their beliefs to be published after the bombing. One of them said the bombing would, quote, wake people up.
The Council of American Islamic Relations issued a statement after the arrest that says, quote, given this alleged plan to attack a Kansas mosque, the 2 other hate incidents reported today against Islamic institutions in Michigan and New Jersey, and the overall spike in anti-mosque incidents nationwide, state and federal authorities should offer stepped-up protection to local communities. Officers in San Francisco are praying for one of their own after an officer was shot in the head. The incident happened Friday after officers responded to a call of an erratic man threatening people. As they approached the suspect, he ran into a park. They were forced to shoot the man after he fired in their direction. 2-year veteran officer Kevin Downs was struck in the upper area of his skull. The suspect was arrested at the scene. All right, turning now to politics. You don't have to wait until November to cast your ballot. Early voting begins tomorrow in many places. prompting candidates to increase campaign efforts. Fox's Brian Yennis has the story.
More than 750,000 ballots have been cast around the country. 36 states and Washington, D.C. allow early voting before Election Day, and it continues to increase in popularity. More than 45 million people are expected to vote early this year. That's about 40% of all total votes expected to be cast. And so far, early voting shows positive signs for Hillary Clinton, a sign that her campaign's ground game is working.
I've been saying from the beginning that I thought this would be a close election, so it doesn't particularly surprise me. We are seeing some data about voting, whether it's registrations, early voting, and requests for absentee ballots in key battleground states that we like.
Battleground North Carolina has been accepting absentee ballots since September 9th. So far, some 31,000 ballots have been mailed in. 38% are from Republicans and 37% are from Democrats. At this point in the 2012 election, Republicans had a 2-to-1 lead in absentee ballots, a good sign for Democrats. In battleground Florida, more than 477,000 absentee ballots have been returned. 2.5 million absentee ballots have been requested by Floridians, 40% from Republicans and 39% from Democrats. Another positive sign for Clinton because in 2008, Republicans led in ballot requests 50 to 32%. But there are encouraging signs for Donald Trump in battleground Ohio. Over 1 million absentee ballots have been requested, but there are declines in heavily Democratic counties like Franklin and Cuyahoga. White voter ballot requests are up and minority voter ballot requests are down. The majority of states begin in-person early voting after October 17th. In New York, Brian Yennis, Fox News.
Man's taking on poverty one step at a time, and 650 miles later, he has an incredible story to tell. That's coming up next. But first, the heat is back. Right, Adam?
Yes, it is. 9 degrees above average for today, which took us into the lower 80s, but it's getting only hotter in the days that come. Take a look out west. You see some temperatures there in the upper 70s here at this hour. That's some warm air, and it's heading this direction. I'm going to tell you how it affects us coming up in the Fox 5 Storm Team AccuWeather forecast.
If you see news happening, you could get paid. Just shoot it, share it, Fresco it for Fox 5. Download the Fresco app now and become part of the Fox 5 News team.
All right, starting to get a good handle now on just how much Hurricane Matthew will cost the state of North Carolina. The flooding has caused about $1.5 billion in damage. The storm damaged more than 100,000 homes, businesses, and government buildings. That number could even rise. Keep in mind that the estimate does not include the cost of repairing damaged roads, bridges, or even the victims' lost belongings. A new date's been set for the LSU and Florida game that was postponed due to the storm. The two teams will face off Saturday, November 19th in Baton Rouge. LSU has already agreed to play the 2017 game in Gainesville, which was originally scheduled to be played in Baton Rouge.
Mild out there this evening across portions of North Georgia, really here in metro Atlanta, holding on to some of the warmest temperatures. 70 degrees currently, a little bit of cloud cover, but it's mostly clear out there at this point. That'll allow us to cool off a little bit more in the next couple of hours, from 70 degrees to 64 degrees in Covington, 63 degrees down in Noonan, the lower 60s in extreme North Georgia. We're going to continue to fall here this evening, getting into the lower 60s. That's still above our seasonal average. Satellite and radar, mostly clear out there this evening. Now, you do notice some of that cloud cover that was there disappearing here in the last couple of hours. Temperatures from around 70 degrees falling down eventually to the lower 60s by very early tomorrow morning. So a light jacket, a sweatshirt before eventually it heats up in a big way for you by Monday afternoon. So those temperatures actually hitting 61 degrees here in the metro area. Some spots falling down into the 50s, 59 degrees in Peachtree City, 58 degrees in Gainesville by early tomorrow morning. But as I said, yeah, eventually it's going to be warming up, getting back to these near record-breaking temperatures. Today it was 81 degrees. Where would we typically be this time of year? 73 degrees. We aren't going to be anywhere close to that the next couple of days, easily getting up a good 10, 12, 13 degrees above that every single day. You're going to notice it pretty quickly for you tomorrow morning. Again, remember, 73 degrees would be an average. Well, by lunchtime, we're already sitting at 76 degrees, and before you know it, we're going to be back up into the 80s once again. 82 degrees, 83 degrees for tomorrow. We're going to cool off slow. And then you know what? It stays with us every single day. So from 83 degrees, 85 degrees for us on Tuesday and on Wednesday, and these are getting near record-breaking highs. The records there, 85 degrees for you tomorrow, 86 degrees on Tuesday, and 87 degrees for you on Wednesday. Now, none of our forecasted temperatures are getting up at the record, but we're going to be right there knocking on the door. So could it happen? Yes, it could. And remember, average 73, we are way above that. When it finally cools down, that's a cold front that's going to be settling through, getting there late on Thursday into Friday and Saturday, and that's going to make a big difference in our forecast. Actually falling back a little bit closer to where we should be this time of year. Some of those much cooler temperatures are going to come with a little bit of rain in our forecast as well. So as you can imagine, we're getting this warm the next couple of days. I'm not expecting any sort of rain activity from now, Tuesday or Wednesday. Completely dry. When is that rain finally coming in? Well, it's going to be when we finally cool down. Just a 20% chance of showers late on Thursday. That's when the cold front begins to approach. You see it more so on Friday and Saturday. And then those numbers really drop for us, and we see some very comfortable mornings there when we get going into next weekend, as highs will be topping off there closer to 70 degrees. Doug?
All right, Adam, thank you. There's a certain cell phone that has been banned on all airline flights. It's the Samsung Galaxy Note 7. The government made that ban started yesterday. Now, travelers won't be able to fly from or within the U.S. with that popular smartphone. That means the Galaxy Note 7 users, well, they won't have their phones on flights. They can't put it in their carry-on baggage or their checked baggage.
If a phone explodes and it causes damage to a plane or an injury to another person because of the close proximity that people are sitting together, I think it's totally reasonable to have those fears.
Those phones were reportedly overheating, exploding, sometimes causing injury. Samsung says not going to make that phone anymore. An Atlanta man is home after walking over 650 miles to bring awareness to poverty in the nation. Terrence Lester started the march from Atlanta to Washington, D.C. nearly 2 months ago, but today he's finally back in the Peach State. Fox 5's Natalie Fultz has his story.
It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Step after step, city after city. Terrence Lester walked over 650 miles from Atlanta to Washington, D.C. The goal? To bring attention to poverty in the country.
You know, I remember days walking in utter pain. I walked in 90-degree heat, 98-degree heat, 100-degree heat when I first started in August. There were many days I had to walk in 3 and 4 hours of rain.
Every time he wanted to quit, Lester says he thought about the millions of people living in poverty.
After a while, the energy left and it became a weight and a burden. And, that's a symbolism of what people have to face.
Lester says he averaged about 13 to 15 miles every day. He stayed in 54 hotels and some nights stayed right on the bus.
I ate lunch with homeless people. I walked with individuals who were living out of the trunk of their cars.
Lester is the co-founder of Love Beyond Walls, a local nonprofit that helps hundreds of people in need each month. He says he remembers the day he first got the idea to take on this adventure.
I was up here on a Saturday and I encountered this elderly lady. She walked 7 miles just for a bag of groceries.
And his trip didn't go unnoticed. Rachel Thompson says she kept tabs on Lester via social media. She was outside Lester's nonprofit Sunday morning to meet the man that made the walk.
I would get up every morning and I would check and I would see where he was, and I would see him out there by himself on those empty streets, all alone, and all I could think about is all the people that would benefit from his journey.
The walk may be over, but Lester says there's still a lot of work to be done.
We can all come together and do something about it.
In Atlanta, Natalie Fultz, Fox 5 News.
Cool story there. Well, they say it's only cheating if you get caught. Richard Sherman didn't, but he should have. Falcons fans are fuming, and for good reason. More on today's game in Seattle next in sports. Dan Quinn wanted this one, taking on his old team and his old stomping grounds, and maybe if without one missed pass interference call, he could have gotten a win in Seattle today. It was a tie game between the Falcons and Seahawks in the third quarter. Matt Ryan finds a wide open Levine Toilolo who walks into the end zone. Ryan's third touchdown of the third quarter, Atlanta was on top 24-17, but the Seahawks would pull within one. Falcons trying to run down some clock late in the fourth quarter, but pass gets picked off, so Seattle does get a field goal, take a 2-point lead. There was still plenty of time for Matt Ryan and the Falcons, but on a 4th and 10, this play. Julio Jones clearly gets his arm pinned by Richard Sherman. Still managed to get a hand on it, but couldn't get the ball and didn't get the flag either. Falcons lose 26-24.
Didn't start the way we wanted to in the first half, but I thought we responded really well in the second half. Continued to battle. We just didn't finish the way that we needed to. And it's a disappointing loss, but we played a really good football team on the road.
A couple of former high-five football players helping decide today's Panthers-Saints game. Former Westlake Lion Cam Newton into the end zone there. That would help tie the game at 38 late in the game. Then it would be former Northgate Viking Will Lutz with a game-winning field goal for the Saints, a 52-yarder. Saints go on to win. Panthers went to the Super Bowl last year, Doug. They are 1-5 this year. Don't feel too bad for them.
All right, Cody, thank you. And thank you for joining us for the Sunday News Edge. The Georgia Gang is up next. Stay connected to Fox 5 around the clock. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Have a good week, everybody.